Liverpool stunned Man United on Friday night with a comfortable, that's the bit that hurts, a comfortable 3-1 win. It's a huge blow to United's hopes in the title race, but for Liverpool, it was their first ever WSL win at Anfield. That was huge. What a magical and historical moment for them. Before this game, United had only conceded 6 goals in the WSL this season. So how the bloody hell did Liverpool bloody do it?
You know, I think for 40 minutes and 30 seconds, Liverpool had not had a shot. They hadn't created a shot on target, a touch in Man United's box. So for that, as I said, it's one of the reasons why it's my moment of the weekend, was that suddenly they were 2-0 up. And add to as well that they had no Fisk, no Bonner and no Holland in the team. You know, makes that win all the more impressive. If the 2 goals they scored in the first half, if you look up the definition of a goal against the run of play and the definition of a perfect counter-attack goal, you will see little clips of those 2 goals, because that is exactly what they were. I feel like it's something that Liverpool had lacked at times earlier this season, was they'd create opportunities and they'd be wasteful. And it did not feel like they were like that. The confidence they had, you know, they looked so comfortable in terms of absorbing United's pressure, really disciplined out of possession, limiting United's opportunities, you know. And I thought United, maybe it was that, I don't know, maybe they coasted a bit. Maybe they thought, we'll break them down. This'll happen. Like, we'll get there. It's only the first half. Suddenly they were 2-0 down. And it was almost like shell shock. But I do think just discipline-wise, defensive-wise, really switched on and really good out of possession. And that was their game plan, and it worked a treat.
Did you feel like there was a kind of a kind of complacency to Man United? It kind of felt like, to me, I don't feel like they were firing on all cylinders. And I think, like you said, I mean, for the possession that they had, so I just had a look at the stats there. Like, Liverpool felt so comfortable and confident without the ball. They had 40% of the possession all game, but there was, I don't know, I didn't see the same kind of fight, I don't think, that I've seen in previous United games, especially given the position they are in the table. I know there's still a fair few points off of Chelsea, but it kind of felt like they were the contenders to disrupt things. They were the only kind of contenders to do that. So, yeah, I think I was just expecting more. There was just a disappointment there. But then you also have to look at, it wasn't just a case of Man United dropping off. I also have to say Liverpool absolutely played a blinder. I mean, let's definitely talk about Olivia Smith. I mean, opened the scoring after a brilliant run down the wing. She then set off Liverpool's attack for their absolutely incredible second goal and then put away the penalty. I mean, we're sort of asking, could this be the kickstart of her Liverpool career? But she's literally been outstanding, like performing at an incredible level now for a long period of time. I know she kind of missed out on, you know, going to the Olympics last year, but Christ, is she building a bit of a case for the Women's World Cup in 2027? She would be first on my list at the moment. But yeah, what have you made on her so far, Rach?
Yeah, like I'd argue she's already kicked off her Liverpool career. She's been very impactful for Liverpool this season. You know, maybe didn't immediately hit the ground running to the heights that people expected, but then I would argue that their expectations were probably too high on a young player who'd just come in. But
I think it was the whole summer around her being the biggest signing and the kind of fear around it, and everyone was like, okay, well, for that money, we're expecting like at 20 goals a flipping game kind of vibe. But yeah, that's not ever going to happen. You still need time to bed in, get adjusted to the players, communication, getting the style of play. So yeah, I've just seen her, like you said, kind of grow from strength to strength.
Like you listed off the impact she had going forward. I was so impressed with her defensively. Like every time I looked up, I was watching the game back today, and like she was the one back in making tackles. And I just think as a unit, they defended really well. As I said, discipline, moved together, but like Olivia Smith was getting back there, putting in the tackles, breaking up play, intercepting passes, and going forward. It just kind of reminded me a little bit of Lauren James. We know what she can do going forward. She's superb and absolutely played to those strengths during the match. But the stuff she's doing that isn't necessarily a big part of her job, I was super impressed with as well, because it just made it so much more a complete performance.
Definitely, and so young as well. I keep forgetting how young some of these players are, and like when you look at where they are, it's like when you look at Aggie Beaver-Jones, or you look at Jess Park, and you look at Olivia Smith, and you're like, for the love of God, do you know, it makes me glad that I've retired, is what it does. Smith comments about interim manager Amber Whiteley's impact were very, very interesting too. She said, we've had a massive boost in confidence. That goes with her just giving us more clarity on our roles, switching the formation, allowing us to be ourselves, and bringing out our individual qualities. I mean, Rach, do you feel like there has been a sort of a Whiteley impact that's kind of hit Liverpool over the last, well, not even that long, to be fair?
Well, obviously there has been an impact because they've won 2 big games on the bounce. Changing to a back four is probably the biggest change. But, there was this kind of thing going around from people on social media that Matt Beard was just too defensive and they need to be more attacking. And realistically, they haven't suddenly become this all-out and out attacking team. Like, they defend really, really well. They defended really well against Arsenal and really well against Manchester United. But I do think there's a freedom that comes with a manager sacking, which sounds weird to say, but like, arguably that decision that's been made is really where the fate of the season will rest. So it was either the right call or it was the wrong call. But whatever the outcome is, it's going to be on the call that was made by the club. So it almost takes like
the pressure
off the players. They can just go out and they can play. And, for Amber, it's again almost takes it off her a little bit as well, because if it goes wrong, which at the moment it's not, you can turn around and be like, well, that was your decision to do that. Do you know the kind of way? So there's just like a bit of a shackles off kind of feeling around Liverpool at the moment.
100%, and I think it was always more difficult given the actual timing of the manager, the change of managers. I mean, we've seen 3 managers in so many weeks, and it's just always baffled me at the timing that they choose to do that when there is so much at stake for the rest of the season. But we digress. We cannot talk about managers again. So let's talk about Man United, who are now 8 points behind Chelsea and dropped to 3rd after Arsenal leapfrogged them on goal difference with their 3-1 win against Everton. Yes, they're probably out of the running for the title. I think Chelsea have now steamrolled clear. But at the same time, I think it's still a lot to play for, and obviously securing and making sure they wrap up that Champions League spot. So there's still a lot to play for from United's side. I think that means a lot to them. But Rach, what do you think? Do you think this could knock confidence, or do you think actually this is just a blip in the road?
I mean, I'm sure they will bounce back. Other teams won't be so compact for so long. And like, credit to Liverpool, because in the second half they improved even more and could have had more. Part of me feels like the way that they were dominating possession, as I said, they maybe just felt like, it's only the first half, we'll break them down, we'll get there, we'll get the goals. Whether it was almost like a coasting or I don't know, but they are going to come up against teams who will play differently and be more open, and that allows them to be more creative and maybe be a bit more successful in front of goal. But it is still the same problems that we've discussed in the past, creating quality opportunities and being, ruthless with those opportunities. And I tried to ask Mark Skinner about ruthlessness and how, putting a team together, you're not going to get everything right immediately. And one season, one thing might be really good and other things need to be fixed. And another season, that's something you focus on. And I kind of asked, like, when do you kind of focus on ruthlessness and how do you train for that or whatever? He seemed to misunderstand the question and think I was asking him as a manager how he learns to be ruthless, which is not really what I was getting at. So unfortunately, I didn't get an answer to that question. But I do think that's an area that maybe they need to work on. I don't know how they do that, but like it's almost a bit Arsenal-like, where there was just a lot of passing and recycling and going back around and giving it back to someone else and coming back. And I understand you're trying to break down the compact defence in front of you, and that worked, and part of me wants to say actually that's credit to Liverpool. But I do think this isn't going to knock them hugely. I still think that they will, pick up some more wins, but they do have a very difficult run in. Their last 3 games are Chelsea, Man City and Arsenal.
That's awful.
So,
that's awful luck.
And like we've said this before, the slip-ups happen where you don't necessarily expect them to happen. And yes, those games of the top 4 playing the top 4 are always super exciting. But actually, it's the other teams that are often the banana skins that I've talked about that maybe you don't expect, and maybe there was a level of confidence going in that they were going to win this game. But Liverpool said no, and it's great that they did it at Anfield too. So that's another thing that Liverpool can shake off.
100%. I think, I mean, you mentioned some of the fixtures that Man United have got coming up there. One of the interesting things is that they, in any other week, they probably would have felt quite confident going into this week's fixture, which is Aston Villa away. Now, obviously, given Aston Villa's quite incredible result at the weekend,
Yeah, I think, the weekend.
I mean, incredible, incredulous, I think is probably the word that I was like searching for there. But I think given the kind of, I mean, maybe this is the absolute best time to go into a situation like this where you kind of think, okay, like hit them on while they're low. This is a great one to kind of boost confidence again, to kind of get back and, you know, play in a team that is underperforming quite significantly at the moment. Maybe this is what they need. They need that kind of like, if this goes badly, Christ, I mean, I would start, maybe Skinner will be next out. I mean, Christ,
no.
It takes one bad result to kick a manager out at the moment.
I do feel like the lessons from this will be do not switch off, do not be complacent, be ruthless, and take your chances.
Okay, that was very empowering. I feel like that was a management speech in itself. Talking of Man United's remaining fixtures, they've got Aston Villa away, Everton home, West Ham away, Chelsea home, Man City home, Arsenal away on the final day. So they have definitely, they've definitely got their work cut out for them. So wishing you guys the best of luck, and please stay second.
Who are you going to support between Man United and Arsenal on the final day?
I'll tell you what, Rach, it depends who wins.
Are you going to have a half and half scarf?
You're damn right I will.